Hey, welcome back tuning into today's video, do the weekend forecast today, having a detailed look at whether the next 7 days across the British Isles, or as detailed as we can get. There's a lot of uncertainty about this week's forecast. It's a bit of a nightmare one to do this week. There's uncertainty for the early part of the period, because we've got a weather front sort of strung out over several days that will be producing pulses of rain from Sunday through to Tuesday, but exactly where those pulses of rain are on Monday and Tuesday anyway is very uncertain. After that, we've got the chance of a Spanish plume at the end of the week, but again, quite how extensive that is, how hot it gets before the thunderstorms push across and cool us down again is very uncertain. It could be just one of those situations where it turns briefly very warm just for a few hours on Friday before it's all swept away once again. I'm not really seeing signs of a really intense heat wave such as we had at the start of July. I think the Atlantic will push it all away before the heat can really get in. But again, it's at the end of the week. It's a very uncertain and changing situation. So don't necessarily take the detail on this week's 7-day forecast too seriously. Well, before I get on with that, just to say about the ads, there's links to articles on all the pages at gasweather.com. You can have a browse through the widget. You'll be helping to pay for the website, and thanks very much for doing that. There's also video ads on most pages. They open out within the content. When you watch them, they'll close back up again, and again, it's helping to pay for gasweather.com. The websites that we're using for the weekend forecast come from theweatherout.com and western.d. You can find links to both of those websites on the links page. So this is the start of the change to more unsettled conditions through the course of the coming week. We can see we've got some quite heavy rain here coming in across Ireland. Hasn't really yet made it into the United Kingdom, although it will be threatening Northern Ireland through the course of this afternoon, possibly some parts of Western Scotland. Otherwise, it showers for Scotland and mostly dry for England and Wales. Here today's Atlantic pressure chart. We've got high pressure bridging to the south, and low pressure is out to the northwest with a weather front moving in off the Atlantic Ocean. So it will turn cloudy and wet across Ireland, Western Scotland, perhaps some other western fringes of the mainland by the end of today. The rest of the country will be dry with sunny spells, probably turning increasingly hazy through this afternoon, but in the east and the southeast we should hang on to pretty good, decent sunny skies through the course of the day. Temperatures reaching 25 Celsius, 77 Fahrenheit, perhaps down in the far southeast, so another very warm afternoon, but it'll be cooler up in the north and the west. As we move through tonight, we're going to find an area of cloud rain spreading across all parts of the country. Some of that rain could be quite heavy to start off, but I think it'll turn a little bit lighter in the second half of the night as it moves down across England and Wales. Although, that said, there will be a few millimetres of rain across most parts of England and Wales for the gardens. So I know a lot of the gardens are quite parched down in the south at the moment. I think there will be some rain coming through the course of tonight. It'll turn drier up in the northwest. It's going to be a very mild night tonight with temperatures no lower than 13, 14, 15 degrees across most parts of the country. Have a north-south split as we go in Sunday, and interestingly the north is better than the south. So I think Scotland, Northern Ireland, some parts of northern England will have a mostly dry day with sunny spells going through just a few showers. Further south we'll start off with quite a bit of cloud and rain across central southern parts of England and Wales. Again, most of the rain will be relatively light and showery, and it'll break up through the course of the day to reveal some sunny spells. But we could also set off some quite heavy showers down across East and South East England. Not overly sure about this, but don't be at all surprised. There's some downpours across parts of the East Midlands, East Anglia, South East England, possibly the risk of one or two thunderstorms in there as well. Temperatures a little bit down compared to those of today, but still relatively warm in the south, really, at around 23. 23 is 73 in Fahrenheit. In the north, we'll be nearer to 18 or 19 degrees. Now, I'm going to show you the thatch charts next. These are the human interpretation of the models by the forecasters at the UK Met Office. This is the thatch chart for Monday, midnight on Monday. You can see we've got this weather front here strung out. Now, that weather front just there in the southeast is sort of Saturday, Sunday morning's rain clearing away, but you'll notice that it trails back into the Atlantic with these little sort of ripples running along. It goes a long way out into the Atlantic, goes right down into the tropical part of the Atlantic. Got quite warm air to the southern side of this weather front, quite cool air to the northern side, and as I say, there are these ripples running along this front which will sort of enhance the rain at times. So I think as we move through the course of Monday itself, and I'll show you the facts chart for Monday. This is it. We can see that we have one of those ripples running through the country during the course of Monday, which will spread the rain back in from the south and west. So many east parts probably start Monday on a mostly dry note, but there'll be cloud of rain in the west, and that will gradually spread northwards and eastwards through the course of the morning, perhaps giving quite a wet morning on Monday, and then eventually sort of turning damp, drizzly in this warmer sector just here. So most persistent rain will ease off through Monday afternoon. That will keep it pretty cloudy, I would think. A few bright spells could come through, but pretty cloudy on Monday afternoon with drizzly bits and pieces of rain. Temperatures could be quite humid down in the south, although only at around 22 or 23, so around average. It'll probably feel quite sticky. In the north, it'll be cooler up there across Scotland with temperatures around 17 or 18 degrees. As we go through into Tuesday, we're going to find another pulse of rain coming through along this cold front. So again, I can show you the facts chart for Tuesday itself, and this is it. We can see that the cold front is coming in there across the country. It'll eventually clear this weather front away, but it certainly means that for Monday and Tuesday, there's a lot of uncertainty about exactly where this front is. I think, say, through central parts of the country, you'll probably find the rain pepping up again on Monday night, perhaps give quite a wet day on Tuesday, and that could be through Ireland, Northern England, Wales, possibly the Midlands. I would think that sort of central part of the UK could be in for quite a bit of heavy rain Monday into Tuesday. To the south, mainly dry, a few heavy showers perhaps in the far southeast, and quite warm down in the south, temperatures again around 23 or 24, but behind this cold front it is cooler. And for Scotland and Northern Ireland, probably a lot of dry weather actually on Tuesday with sunny spells, but fairly cool up there with temperatures just 15, 16 or 17 degrees. That cold front should finally clear the whole of the country as we go through Tuesday night, and I think many of us will be glad to see the back of it by that time. So as we go through into Wednesday, we've got a ridge building behind the cold front across the country. Wednesday, a much more straightforward day. Going to have a lot of dry weather with good sunny spells coming through. It will be fairly cool early and late though. Temperatures probably in single figures, but by day in the sunshine, because the sun's still very strong, it's midsummer, you're going to see the temperatures lifting up to 22 or 23 degrees once again. And then the uncertainty returns for the end of the week, and it's in the form of what's happening with the Spanish plume. We've got this ridge drifting to the east, low pressure developing out to western. The same old story that had at the start of the month, with hot air starting to come up from Spain. However, this low pressure is quite strong. It could well cut off that hot air very quickly. I do think Thursday is again going to be a mostly dry day. There could be some cloud and rain heading into Ireland and western Scotland later on. That could be thundery rain, by the way, but otherwise a lot of dry weather with sunny spells. Temperatures after a chilly start probably lifting up to around 26, maybe 27 degrees in the southeast, so getting back towards 80 Fahrenheit in the far southeast. And then it could all go bang as we go through into Friday, but I have to emphasise a lot of uncertainty about this, but Friday could potentially be a hot day across the Midlands, eastern parts of England. Temperatures possibly up to 30 degrees, 86 Fahrenheit, but there'll be heavy rain and thunderstorms across Scotland and Ireland, and that heavy rain and those thunderstorms likely to spread across the whole of the country through the course of the day. And how quickly that happens will determine how hot it gets in the east, because if these storms are coming across early on Friday, obviously we'll cut off the hot air before it can ever get in. If the storms are delayed until, let's say, Friday night, Saturday morning, then we have the potential to turn it very warm, if not hot, down in the southeast on Friday afternoon. So just going to depend what happens with that. Watch this space. By the time we get through to the weekend, though, next weekend, we should be back into a much cooler and fresher westerly flow anyway, so any storms and hot air should be swept away, and we're sort of into a cool, showery type scenario then, which may lead us into a few days after that of really quite unsettled weather with some fairly heavy rain. We'll have to keep an eye on how that one develops. So just to finally have a look at the chart up the charts from the weather outside the weather in your area today. And we've got the rain up in the north and the west gradually developing off the Atlantic for the course this afternoon. Most places will stay dry, sunny and warm. And then as we go through into Sunday, we're going to find cloud and rain spread across England and Wales through the course of tonight and into Sunday itself, turning showery as it does so. Some of these showers in the east and southeast could be quite heavy tomorrow afternoon, possibly with some thunder. We've got a weather that's sort of strung out as we go through into Monday and Tuesday, so both days are likely to be unsettled, particularly in central parts of the country with showery burst rain, mostly dry to the south and quite warm, dry and cooler to the north of that front. The front should finally clear out of the way as we go through Tuesday into Wednesday, so Wednesday a mostly dry day with sunny spells, temperatures feeling cooler and fresher, and then a lot of uncertainty for Thursday and for Friday. Potentially we could turn it hot briefly in the east, but perhaps a growing threat of thunderstorms coming back in from the west, so another Spanish plume to end the week is a possibility. Let's say no more than that. So in summary, it looks like we're going to be seeing a fairly changeable week coming up. But that said, the far south of the country will probably hang on to a lot of dry weather. But we will have this annoying front sort of strung out through Sunday into Monday and Tuesday as well, which will bring pulses of rain to central parts of the country. And then as we go through to the end of the week, all eyes on whether or not we get that Spanish plume. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.